Hello and welcome back to the PowerKPIs Getting Started course series. In this session number 10, we will learn how to set the metric attributes of our KPI cards by using metadata. This means instead of having to adjust all the metric attributes manually, like we did in the video number 9, we can use information stored in a dataset to apply the formatting. This is especially powerful when you have a big amount of different KPI cards you want to display and you don't want to format them one by one. Okay, so let's take a look at how to do this. In front of us, we now have 12 KPI cards showing different metrics. They are all formatted in the same way. We could now go ahead and adjust the metric formatting of each card individually by heading to the configuration menu, and in the second section, Style KPI Cards, we could open each individual KPI and apply formatting like steer type, accepted tolerance, chart type, formatting, decimal places, and so on. But in order to save some time, we can also use the already mentioned feature Assign Formats from Metadata. You can find this feature right here. Let's quickly enable this. Now the extension gives us the option to map our metadata to each attribute. Before we can do this, however, we need to get the according metadata first. Because right now, as we can see here, the right fields are not available yet. So let's close the configuration menu for now. In this example, we already prepared the metadata. As you can see in the data pane, there's an additional folder called metadata right here. In there, we can find different data pills, each for one metric attribute like auto precision, chart type, and so on. To understand what the underlying data looks like, we can quickly open a new worksheet and take a look at the different data pills. On the one hand, we've got our metric and the according values. Let's make those discrete. Then, on the other hand, for each metric, we also have the according metadata, which determines how the KPI cards are going to be formatted. We can, for instance, pull in auto precision, and it looks like for every single metric, this is set to true. Then we also have a pill for chart type. We can pull this in just to take a look. And there we can see some metrics are formatted as line charts, then some as bullet charts, and so on. We can also take a look at currency, add external link. We also have a metric attribute for the number of decimal places. Let's also turn this to discrete for better readability. We can see that some metrics are supposed to have 2 decimal places and some only 1 or 0, and so on. So this is kind of the setup that is required to apply metadata formatting. You need a column for the metric or another dimension which is going to form the KPI card setup, and then you need one column for each metric attribute. You can use this workbook as example or our Gitbook documentation to create such metadata information for your datasets as well. Okay, so let's apply this data to format our PowerKPI cards. Let's go back to the original worksheet. In order to make the metadata available for our PowerKPIs extension, we need to pull all relevant attributes on the detail field. Once this is done, we can open the configuration menu again and start mapping the fields. Since in this example the pills are more or less labeled according to the attribute, the mapping is pretty straightforward. For steer type, for example, we can simply go ahead and select metric steer logic. For accepted tolerance, it is going to be tolerable variance. Let's quickly fast forward until all attributes are mapped. For attributes that are not represented in your metadata, you can simply leave the setting as default. Once the field mapping is completed, we can go ahead and click Save and see the changes. And that's it. We successfully applied metric formatting using metadata to all our KPI cards. In some cards we now have line charts, but also different kinds of bar charts. For cards that display currencies, we now have a dollar symbol in front of them, and so on. Next to our personal PowerKPIs creation, we could also go ahead and share this metadata formats with our whole organization so that everybody can use unified formatting for these KPIs. In the next video, we will learn how to use different sorting options for PowerKPIs. If you found this video helpful, please leave a like and a comment and consider subscribing to our channel.